Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to Coach's Corner with Josh Chernikoff. By the way, we are in the process of thinking of how we can adjust that name and adjust the format. We're always trying to kind of get better here in our business, which I believe everybody should be doing. But where that has led me to feel is that and I heard Alex Hormozy say this, I am not sure at this point. I am so tired that if a good night's sleep would even do it for me. But no complaints. It's exciting times. It's good stuff. But you know, I am a little bit tired here. So you're going to get all of what I can give you. And then I'm going to have to dig deep because getting ready to go to ASU GSV, which is something I didn't think I would be going to. So Ken will confirm that we are live in YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Very funny moment where I told Ken I was going live before we went live, and he said I got to run, because he and I were talking basically here, and the cameras were going live. So it was a funny blooper moment for us. Today, we're going to talk about a show that we released from a conference I was at IFE in Monterrey, Mexico. And I got a chance to speak on a panel. And we're going to talk about basically selling into education, anywhere from pre-K to gray. And we are going to have the insights, and you can get the insights of Dr. Michael Fung, who runs IFE, if you go and download this show at Breaking the Grade. Yes, he focuses more on universities, but what he talks about when it comes to selling into education is universal. And when I mean universal, I mean universal, meaning pre-K to gray and around the world. Okay, so hopefully you can go and download that show. Ken, I believe that you could put the link to that show in the chat. And speaking of the chat, if you are with us across one of our many channels, please let us know. Let us know in the chat. Put your name, put your LinkedIn, put your company, talk about what you do in education. That would be great to know. Again, today, if you are an EdTech founder, are you a leader? Are you a salesperson? You are navigating the education landscape and you are trying to grow your business and get more leads. And if you download the show in Breaking the Grade, where we had a conversation with Dr. Michael Fung, you are going to learn about how you can universally sell. What do I mean by that? Sell to anybody in education from pre-K to gray. Sell to anybody around the world. So here's one of the most important things that Dr. Michael Fung talked about, the director of IFE. The truth is, schools do not buy features, they buy fit. Put that on a bumper sticker, Ken. Okay? Let's start making bumper stickers. Schools don't buy features, ... They buy fit. What do we mean by that? If you don't align with how institutions actually operate, you're not going to make it. They don't care about your features per se. They care about your fit with them and their institution. So the first key point is that we're going to make here is why most EdTech pitches fall flat. And the reason is because people lead with features. You need to start with problems. So instead of focusing on what your product does, focus on the specific problems it solves for that school or that university. Don't want to take it from me? Fair enough. Download the show and listen to Dr. Michael Fung, who has been in this industry for many, many years. You need to understand the pain points of educators, administrators, students, and you need to address the concerns of that one particular stakeholder, the one that you can help the most. And what you also need to do, and the most important thing you can do when talking, is listen. Which I know that sounds weird. The most important thing you can do when you're talking is listen. This is interesting because this is a conversation that my wife and I have with our daughter, Camila, who's a pretty damn cool kid. If you see my Instagram or my Facebook, you'll see that Camila last night, she was scared out of her mind. It took her 7 minutes to go down and do this skateboarding trick that she had never been able to do. She finally did it. Then she did it over and over and over again, but she had to get the first one done. So she's not really scared of anything. She's always been a great communicator. What she's not very good at is listening. And when we kind of realized that she wasn't especially good at listening, I began to talk to her about the fact that it's sometimes harder to listen than to talk. And one of the reasons most EdTech pitches fall flat is because people do not listen, they only talk. And you should be there to listen, much like we talked about in our previous show on Breaking the Grade, which is about conferences. When you go to conferences, you need to be listening to people. And if you just go in with the idea of listening, then every conference will be a win. So key takeaway number one of why most EdTech pitches fall flat is because you lead with features when you need to start with problems, and you do not listen enough, and you end up talking too much. You kind of end up being like Camila. Easton, hello, from wherever you're joining us from. Nice to meet you. The second part that we're going to talk about here that we all learned from Dr. Michael Fung and that show, and Ken, please put in the chat the link to the Dr. Michael Fung show. And you can also put the link to the blog on our website, joshchernichoff.com. What does fit really mean in education? What does fit really mean in education? What that means, fit, you need to go beyond simply having, again, the right features. It is about aligning with an institution, higher ed, or a school's culture, value, and how they operate. So when you're looking at fit, you need to understand the goals of, again, that school district, that higher education institution, or even that preschool. Okay? And this is something that my co-host, John Gamba, talks about a lot. Do your research before. You can go in there and ask questions. If you have done your research, you can ask questions about, the way an institution approaches problems that you can solve, or how a school district looks at problems that you can solve. Then you can show how your method, your solution, your platform actually solves their problems. So I want you to think about this idea of fit. Yes, it's important to understand the decision makers and how you're going to fit in there. Yes, it's important to know how you're going to implement. But those things really kind of come second. The first thing you can do is to understand how your method, your model, your platform, your solution can fit into the overall goals and needs of a school district, or higher education institution. Most likely those things are published somewhere. So you can come in already being able to show how you're going to help solve problems, not talk about features. Finally, I want to talk about the value of credibility, and that decision makers really do care about your credibility. By the way, thank you, Ken, for putting into the chat on LinkedIn, on Facebook, the blog that is really cool to read about Dr. Michael Fung and the show we just did with him. Well, we recorded it back in January at IFE in Monterrey, Mexico. And then also Ken put in YouTube in the chat there, and on LinkedIn, the link to our latest podcast. Again, we're going to go back to credibility. Why is credibility important? A, don't want to take it from me? Fine, cool. I got to earn your trust. Hopefully Dr. Michael Fung has earned your trust. He talks about this. Show evidence of impact. One, that helps you build that credibility. That's that research to practice. Case studies, testimonials. All of those things are really important. Build relationships. That's credibility. Build relationships. I would not have gotten a chance to meet Dr. Michael Fung had I not gone to this conference, had a chance to sit on a panel, had a chance to sit with Dr. Michael Fung and several other people in the education space. Offer strategies. When you offer strategies, especially effective strategies, you provide value. People begin to see how you can help them. And so when you offer strategies, AKA a little bit of professional development in the education space, then people begin to understand who you are, and you build your credibility. Show that you understand the educational landscape. Let me think. I'm not trying to be a jerk. Let me think. What are ways that you can do that? LinkedIn, join conversations, make insightful comments, get a chance to speak at conferences, get a chance to be on panels, get a chance to speak on shows, make comments here. You guys know, if you make comments, I will call you out in a good way. So how do you build credibility? Show evidence of impact, build relationships, offer strategies, some professional development, show that you understand the landscape. I'll pause for a second here. I hope that you guys are interested in joining our 3E community. It is growing day by day. By the way, we just started our 3E9. Yeah, our 9th cohort, unofficially. because we work privately with companies all the time, and we don't mention those things. Unofficially, 3E9, we got 10 companies who are kick ass. All of them in the education space. All of them were there week one. We spent probably 100 minutes together, and it felt like it flew. And in those 100 minutes, those companies made gains. And that was just the first 100. That was actually a bonus 100. I generally have that first meeting and I say, that first one's free. I told you 12 and it's actually 13. A little bit of showmanship. So we're here to talk about lead generation. That's what we're doing in the education space. We're also here to talk about life in general. And I can tell you, I heard Alex Hormozy say something earlier today when I was listening to him about how at one point he was so tired that he didn't think a good night's sleep would do it. I'm kind of at that point. But I'm also super, super, super excited about the direction of the business, the people who are on our team. And I'm also very excited about going to ASU GSV. So 1 week from tomorrow, I'll be flying to San Diego. And then 1 week from, hold on. Let me say this the right way. 1 week from tomorrow is easier to say than anything else. And then on April the 5th is the AI show, which I've never been to at ASU GSV. And if you have been, tell me what it's like, put it in the comments. And if you're going to be there this year, let me know. I've been hearing from some wonderful people through the AI show app. So we're starting to book a few meetings, which is exciting. I'll be there doing strategy meetings. I'll be there doing interviews for Breaking the Grade. I'll be there hosting a coffee meetup for probably about 30 EdTech sales leaders. That's invite only, folks. But I'd love to invite you. You'll hear more about that. And then we're also going to host a happy hour on Tuesday at Mike Hess. And I'm lucky enough that I am going to be hosting this happy hour with the wonderful folks from Starbridge and EQL EdTech. Yeah. So kind of teaming up with these folks, and we will be hosting the coffee Monday morning. You'll hear more about it. We will be hosting the happy hour, 5 to 7 Pacific time. Mike Hess Brewery. Jen from Starbridge, clearly, even when she doesn't know what she's doing, she knows what she's doing because she chose Mike Hess as the place to have this happy hour. And I can tell you, A, their beers are amazing. B, their tacos are amazing. And you might say, what does this nice Jewish boy from Washington, D.C. know about tacos? Well, I've spent some time in Mexico, so I know a few things about tacos. And Mike Hess has some of the best tacos I've ever had in America. Second best might be in Austin. They got great tacos in Austin, Texas. Again, not surprising, San Diego and Austin, right? But so if you are going to ASU GSV, let me know. Be pretty cool to meet people in person. I have to tell you, I wasn't going to go. I really wasn't going to go. I did not feel like going. Not kidding you. I've had a few not amazing experiences at ASU GSV. I'm not going to go into those. But I know this is going to be a great one because I have been on a streak since last June of going to conferences and knocking it out of the park. Mainly because my mindset changed, my credibility changed. Those things helped. My messaging changed. Ken and I figured out what the heck we were doing. That changed. And so conferences have become so much more valuable. So although I wasn't going to go, about a week ago, I had 2 conversations. One of them with a guy named Nate Lichty, who's like, dude, you got to go. Nate is just an awesome guy I met at South by Southwest. And Nate was like, there's so much you can do, people to help, people to meet now at ASU GSV, given my own credibility. And then I'm going to call him out, Clement Townsend, Clement from Chicago, who I've gotten to know over LinkedIn, and we've had a couple conversations, and we've got a shared background in being on TV covering sports. He was going, and I'm like, I really want to meet this dude. So I'm going. And then, by the way, in May, I think I'm going to go up to Chicago and potentially speak at the University of Chicago, and then get a chance to meet up with some EdTechers in Chicago. And then Ken is most excited. Thank you for reminding me that Will I Am is going to be at ASU GSV. So I'm going to do what I can to get Ken either a picture of me with Will I Am or an autograph. Okay. So we have spent some time today. Yeah, your birthday gift. Exactly. You got it, Ken. Clearly, Ken is talking to me on this private chat, reminding me that Will I Am is going to be there. Hopefully, he's probably helping me manifest this meeting with Will I Am and his birthday gift. So we have talked today about the show, the Breaking the Grade show that we released last Friday that I recorded at IFE in Monterey with Dr. Michael Fung. I hope you go and download it. It's a great show. Some of the things we talked about were why most EdTech pitches fall flat, what fit really means in education, and how to build credibility that decision makers care about. Dr. Michael Fung covered all of those things from sitting in the seat that he was in, which is decades of experience in the education space. We also talked about the road ahead. And the road ahead is San Diego, ASU GSV. If you're going to go, please let me know. I'll get you some tacos or some coffee. Potentially going to Chicago and speaking at the University of Chicago as it pertains to lead generation in the education space. There's not much more that I know how to talk about. June, Catalyst event. You'll hear more about that probably next week when John Gamba joins us. Catalyst event. I'll be sponsoring that and speaking at it. July, ERDI in Baltimore. So if you don't know what ERDI is, it's amazing. Ask me about it. Tell you more about it. Huge fan. Happy to be a part of that ERDI group. August is quiet. September, up to New York for the Milken Finals. October, back up to New York for EdTech Week, which I've never been to, and I'm super excited to go to. I've never met Ash and his kind of team in person. I'm hoping I'll get to do that at ASU GSV. Ash is somebody I've admired for so many years as to what he's built. He and I have had a Zoom conversation before. He probably doesn't remember. This guy is a complete rock star. He talks to a lot of people, but I will hopefully get to meet him in person at ASU GSV. So I think we've done what we're supposed to do here in the Coach's Corner. Covered and talked about the show of Dr. Michael Fung, and also talked about the road ahead and hopefully ways that we can meet in person and collaborate. So this will be re-aired next Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern. And then 1 week from today, I will be talking to John Gamba. And we're going to be talking about LinkedIn, and we're going to be talking about ASU GSV, and we're going to be talking about friggin' tacos. All right? A lot to talk about when it comes to tacos. So I appreciate everybody who joined. Hopefully this has been informative for you. Go and get that episode of Dr. Michael Fung from IFE in Monterrey, Mexico. There's lots to learn. If you're going to be at ASU GSV, let me know. You can do it through the AI app or DM me directly in LinkedIn, or we're going to be putting out my calendar and people can grab strategy sessions. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Hope this was as enjoyable for you as it was for me. And I will see you next week, unless I see you before then. Cheers, everybody. Have a good one.